if you're in a relationship with the feminine, which you are no matter where you're at in life, because everything is either masculine or feminine energy. If you're in a relationship with the feminine and you're not leading, well, that's a bulk of what your problems are coming from, because the masculine does and the feminine receives. And trust me, I've worked with lots and lots of women. I've counseled, I've coached, I'm married to the feminine, and I can tell you that she desperately seeks your leadership. Even if she's resisting it, even if you've been married for decades and she seems to be resisting your leadership, ultimately underneath it, she craves it, because healthy femininity craves leadership from the masculine. Now, before I go any further, I want to remind you to please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps the algorithm, it helps the channel grow, costs you nothing, and it just takes you a quick second to just hit that button. So go ahead, do it right now while you're thinking about it. There you go. All right, thanks. Now, you may be saying, Chuck, that's not true. My woman does not want to be led. She wants to lead all of the time. She's controlling. She wants to always make the decisions. She wants to be in charge. I'm telling you that ultimately she doesn't want to be in charge. She wants you to be. And if she's not, it's because there's some kind of woundedness inside of her, either from her history or something that you've done in the relationship that's broken the trust that she needs in order to feel like she can trust your leadership. And that's why it's super important for us men to understand how easy it is for us to break trust and how difficult it is for us to regain it. But when we're consistent, when we show up, when we lead from our frame, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, when we lead from the position of the masculine, from the fullness of our frame, she ultimately will learn to trust that. And when she trusts it, she can relax into it. And when she relaxes into it, she can open up. And that's ultimately what she wants to do. She wants to open up and share the divine feminine spirit with you. The feminine craves your trust, your trustability. She wants to trust you. But when we don't lead, we become untrustable. And when she can't trust us because we're not leading, what happens is she feels like she has no choice but to take over the lead. And this is true with all types of feminine energy. For example, money or children, pets, anything that requires something of us. If we're not setting the tone, if we're not taking the lead, eventually that energy will stop trusting us. I see this happen with a lot of guys in the area of their finances. They don't lead in their finances. They don't create structure in their finance. They have no framework around their money. And if your relationship with your money is that way, there's a good chance that your relationship with the woman that you're involved with is also that way. In fact, I'm going to go as far as to say that if your relationship with money is chaotic and there is no framework around it, there's no leadership, then there's a really, really good chance that you're also not leading in your relationship with the feminine in most other areas of your life, and specifically in your relationship with your partner. That's why it's super important for us to learn the power of creating framework. Now, what do I mean by framework? By framework, it's kind of a metaphor. Take a skeleton, for instance. If you remove the skeleton from our body, what you have is just a puddle of flesh and blood and liquid laying on the floor. There has to be some kind of structure that's holding things up. That structure can be your plan, it can be your vision, it can be systems that you put into place. It can be knowing where you want to go. But most of all, it's about leading. Framework is something that you build in order to support the whole system. And if I don't have framework around my emotions, if I don't have framework around my skill set, if I don't have framework around anything in my life that's feminine, again, money comes to mind. If I don't have framework, then what's going to happen is it's going to collapse into a puddle on the floor of a bunch of flesh, blood, and liquid. So you have to learn to develop framework in your life, structure. Now, this might come in the form of learning a skill. Maybe you need to learn a skill about how to budget, how to create a framework around your money. Maybe you need to learn the skill of how to communicate. This would be another way of framework around your relationships. It's up to you to make sure you're building the framework in your life. Part of the masculine energy is about ascertaining. Ascertaining means that you figure out what you need and then you go out and you get it. You ascertain that thing. This is why it's important in creating framework that you know what it is that you need, and then you go out there and you ascertain that and you bring it back so that you can build a solid framework. For example, let's say you were going to build a fence. You would need to go out and ascertain the materials, the instructions, and bring them back so that you can build a fence. It's the same thing with our framework. We have to first know what it is that we need and then go out and ascertain that. Could be in the form of a class, getting a coach, joining a men's group, but you go out and you ascertain what you need in order to build the framework around the feminine energies in your life. Now, in order to build framework, you need a couple of things. One is you need to have a vision. You need to know where you're going. You need to have an idea of what it is that you want. And then the second thing you need is a plan. The plan is the structure around this. How are we going to ascertain the thing that it is that we want? And when it comes to our relationships, if we don't have a vision and we don't have a plan and we're not ascertaining in our relationships, again, what's going to happen is without the framework, everything's going to collapse. So first thing I have to do is I have to get clear on what it is that I want. One method of this is just getting quiet, getting silent, and listening to your spirit. Asking yourself the question, what is it that I want? What is it that my family needs? And as you sit there, there's a good chance that the universe is going to provide you with some insights. What is it you want? You probably want a healthy, dynamic, generous, a creative relationship that your friends are jealous of and your children aspire to. That's the vision. And what you want to do then is you want to cast that vision with your partner. Babe, what I want us to have is an amazing, wonderful, deep, thriving relationship where our children see that as something to aspire to, where our friends are jealous of the kind of relationship we have. I want that with you. Would you like to join me on the quest for making this happen in our relationship? And that's part of the leadership as well, is you don't lead through dominance. You lead through invitation. Do you want to come join me on this journey? And if she says no, that she can't trust you for whatever reason, that's something you're going to have to take a deeper look at. You may have to say to yourself, well, this is what I want. And so I'm going to go out and I'm going to pursue a healthy, dynamic, wonderful, vibrant relationship. The vision that you present to your partner has to be inspiring. I mean, think of it like this. If you just said, hey, I want to go on vacation, that's not really inspiring. But if you said, hey, I really miss the connection with you. I would like us to take some time let's go up to the mountains. Let's rent a cabin up in the mountains. Let's go skiing. Let's just take a long weekend so we can just reestablish connection with each other. How's that feel to you? And you want to use the term, how does that feel to you? Because us guys, we tend to think. So I might say, hey, what do you think about this? And I do it all the time myself. But when we say, how do you feel about that? You're asking her to come from the place of her feminine heart. How does she feel about it? Well, that feels really good. If you say, think about it, what she's going to say is, well, can we afford it? Who's going to watch the kids? You're going to get off into the weeds and you don't want to go there. What you want to be able to do is inspire her with your vision around the framework that inspires her to follow you and lead. And then there's the follow through. This is the most important piece. If we cast a vision, but we don't follow through, if we don't have the plan, if we don't implement the plan, then we don't have the structure and the whole thing collapses. And if you've ever made a promise to your partner and have broken that promise, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So even if you come with an amazing vision and she knows that you're not going to follow through, all that's going to leave you with, again, is a big puddle on the floor. Now, do you see how having structure, having a plan, having a vision that's inspiring and going and asking her to feel into that vision with you is going to inspire her? As opposed to if you're just like, I don't know, what do you want to do? When we're in that space, we're asking her to lead. And like I said, she doesn't want to lead. She wants you to lead, but she wants you to lead from your capacity as a man to set the tone, set the vision, create structure, inspire her to feel into her heart so that she wants to come along. Anyway, I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.